Hello guys, welcome to today's live Q&A in my lingerie, and we are talking about a really hard topic. Not one of my favorite topics to cover. So if this is you and this is where you are in your journey with your woman or your former woman, um, I'm just really sorry. Really, really sorry. Let me turn down this music before I get in trouble with YouTube. Um, yeah, we're going to talk about what to do if you found out she cheated on you. Um, not easy. Not easy. And just offering deep compassion to anyone who's going on this kind of a journey. Um, if this is you, would you just let me know in the chat section if you've gone through this? I'm just super curious. So basically, we're talking about um, what to do if you found out that she cheated on you. Um, yeah, so I am coming from Los Angeles now. I don't know what it is with LA, but my hair is starting to curl up here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm very grateful to have you guys here. Still good to be in the blessed USA, United States of America. So, thank you. Thank you guys for being flexible with my time changes. But as I am a world traveler, you guys get to travel with me and means you get to adjust to time zones with me as well. So, as always, I'm going to cover this topic. We're going to talk about it, and then you guys get to ask your questions. I do realize that not all of you are going to have this issue. So, if you have some general questions, I'm also here to support those the best that I can because sometimes they get piled on here, and I'm not able to get to everyone's question, but I'm very happy to be able to support you guys and drink some water. So, what do you do when she's cheated on you? The first thing that you need to do, which if you followed my advice or you listen to my advice always comes back to empowering you men first and foremost, because I am of the belief system. I've been taught, I've been trained as I've worked with other counselors and people is, you cannot give away what you don't have, what you're not willing to give to yourself. So if you've been cheated on, you're watching this video, sorry for the slow start. But the first thing that you have to do is not blame yourself. You can't do that. When a breakup has first occurred, I think as human beings, I know that this is something that I sometimes have a challenge with is when something goes wrong, we inherently want to blame ourselves, right? And I just want to encourage you that if this is your journey and that is going to be a knee-jerk reaction initially, that you're gonna want to blame yourself. Place for you to do self-reflection, to look at where you could have shown up differently. But when something like this happens, that is not the first place to begin. You have to be super gentle with yourself because essentially, when someone has cheated, it is a form of betrayal. And the last thing that you want to allow to occur is for you to start betraying yourself by berating yourself, by coming down on yourself, by throwing accusations at yourself. It's the last thing you want to do. It's the last thing you want to do. So, first step is if you found out she's been cheating, is to not go into self blaming mode. Self reflection mode will have its time, will have its place, but it's not when you initially find out. The second thing, which is really difficult to do, is to put boundaries in place. Ideally, the person is going to want to explain themselves or they're going to want to react on you. You've got some people who do something hurtful and then they want to blame you for what they have chosen to do. And so you want some healthy boundaries. And the reason why is we can't heal i- if someone's still picking at the wound. If you have a major gash on your arm and you need it to heal, you give it some air, you clean it out. But if someone's taking a knife and digging in it, then the wound never has an opportunity to heal. And, living in Bali, we become very aware that takes a long time for wounds to heal out there because of the humidity and the climate. And so, um, on a very practical level, I've seen this, but I see this in relationships when there's been betrayal. Is first the person blames themselves or they start berating themselves, which is a betrayal of the self. And then the second thing is they don't set proper boundaries to allow themselves to heal, to allow themselves to gain perspective. It's like you've had this person who has been your comfort, your companion, your ride or die, your partnership, and immediately they get just taken away from you. And it's a knee-jerk reaction to want to go back and to get that sense of comfort from them, even though you may be angry with them, even though you're broken by them. But there's that sense of comfort that they used to provide that the mind says, I want to go back to that person of relief. And that's just not an option. And sometimes we have to gently tell our minds, I understand that that's where you used to get your comfort, but that is no longer an option for you. It's no longer an option. It's no longer a resource. And so the first thing is don't betray yourself by berating yourself. The second thing is create boundaries immediately. Immediately. Why? Why do you need to create boundaries? And when I say that, I mean telling the person, I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to be around you. I don't want messages from you. I need a whole month to just be alone. You listen to the time frame that works for you. But it's not 2 days and it's not a week. You need that time to yourself to go, how do I feel about this? To grieve it out, which I know as men you don't hear too often to do. But yeah, you have to grieve it out. You have to cry. You have to sit with the emotions. You don't want to run from them. I mean, we're emotional warriors here. We don't run from things. Not in my community. We're not about running. We're about facing things and gaining freedom and momentum. So it's allowing yourself to grieve, allowing yourself to put some um, words into how you feel about the situation, journaling, being around loving, supportive friends, taking care of yourself physically, going and moving your body, releasing the emotions through the body through movement. I may have said meditation, yoga, all these things that you need to do to support yourself. And the third thing is after you've created boundaries, is you need to surround yourself with people who are going to encourage you. Now, listen, I'm not of I don't really promote being around friends who are just going to bash your ex. It's okay to say, hey, they were shit for doing that. That was really stupid of them. Like, absolutely, you want friends who are going to validate your pain. That's what friends do. But what you don't need is friends who are going to keep you in that state of rage, anger, putting the person down. That has its time, it has its place, and it's necessary. I mean, if you're not pissed off, like I would say you're really turning down your emotions, but under that is grief. So we don't want friends who just stir the pot and just say what an a-hole the person is constantly. It's okay to acknowledge it, but then we need them to affirm you, to remind you of who you are. Because when you go through that form of betrayal, if you want to second guess yourself. What is it about me? What did I do? And the truth is, in some situations, yeah, could you have been a culprit in it? Sure, absolutely. And you get to look at that after you've allowed yourself to grieve, after you've allowed yourself to grieve. But for the most part, when someone does that, that's a conscious choice or not conscious choice they're making. That is super hurtful. And that's something that they have to be willing to face or within themselves or not. So the first thing I would say is don't betray yourself by berating yourself and putting yourself down. The second thing is put boundaries in place immediately. Don't let that person stick around you because you won't get to heal. You won't get to gain clarity or perspective about how you feel about it. And the third thing is be around supportive friends who really affirm who you are, what they love about you, what they value about you, because you will need to be reminded of that. Listen, I don't care how strong you are. I don't care if you are an emotional warrior. When someone betrays us, we bleed. I'm going to say that again. When someone betrays us, we bleed. And that's called being human. Okay. And none of us get to skip that process. And if you are skipping it, then I would venture to say that you're emotionally bypassing the situation and you're not actually sitting with it, being present with it, confronting it. And all that does is just stuffs it down, becomes shame, becomes cancerous, it just grows, it starts infiltrating in through every area of your life until you confront it. So, if you are going through this, I just want to say, my darling, I am so sorry. You did not deserve that. No one. I want to validate you. No one deserves to be treated that way. We all deserve to have someone who is courageous enough to sit us down and at least give us the benefit of the doubt by having an honest conversation with us and saying, "Hey, I love you, but this relationship is not working for me and I need to leave," as opposed to betraying you and cheating behind your back. So, then the question lends to itself, do I accept this person back? And and really that is indicative on if they choose to take responsibility, because if they're blaming you, that's not a person you take back. Then maybe you guys stay separated for a year until they're able to face themselves. But if that person is one willing to take responsibility, calling a spade, I betrayed you. I broke our trust. I broke our relationship. I broke everything that we built. I chose to break that. That is a classic example of taking responsibility, not someone gaslighting you and going, but you, and because of you, and that's not taking responsibility. That's blaming. And it's a very cowardly act. So, one, someone who takes tremendous responsibility. Two, someone who seeks help. If someone's gone to that extreme to hurt someone, whether they were intending to hurt them or not, that sort of person has to be in therapy. They've got to. Something inside of them is not being addressed. They're fearful about something. When you're fearful about something and you can't confront it, you do mischievous acts like this, right? So that person obviously has a challenge with confront in their life. So they need to find a therapist, find a coach who's going to create a loving, safe place for them to start confronting in life instead of running, hurting other people, hurting themselves. So that is something else. That's the only way I would encourage you to take them back is if they take responsibility, they get help, they start seeing someone. And the third thing is that they are committed to work things out with you and what that would look like. I actually heard this from Esther Perel. She does great work around intimacy. Um, I highly encourage you, if you want to really deepen relationships, to check out her work. She is great. I would love to interview her at some point. I think she's phenomenal. But she says that in this situation that the person who's been cheated on needs to have the safety to go, I need to revisit this conversation. I need to be able to process like how this has affected me, how it still haunts me, it still torments me, it still keeps me on edge, and that other person is committed to hearing you and holding space. It's not to beat them up. It's not to just constantly say, you did this, you did this. It's not coming from that place. It's, I'm hurting. I'm hurting because of a choice you made. And I'm looking for ways to heal that. I'm looking for ways to be heard and validated. So if that's you and you've been through that and you're like, I really could use some support, I highly encourage you to check out my coaching. I'm putting a link here. If you want to look at my coaching, I'd be happy to guide you on that process. The other thing is you can always check out my website, Attract and Seduce Her. I've got some programs on vulnerability. I've got programs on being an emotional warrior to support yourself. So I hope that you will go check out those resources because I would love for you to be deeply supported in this. So, with that being said, I'm going to move over to the chat box and see what questions you guys have because I have a feeling, wow, there's a whole bunch of them. Let's just get started. Derek Tickler says, me and my girlfriend did a weekend on Central Coast, stayed in Pismo Beach, and did wine tasting in Paso Robles. I love wine tasting in Paso Robles. I just had a good Cab Sauvignon the other night in Beverly Hills. It was fantastic. I just have to say they have great wines. And Slow, Sunday was 3-month anniversary of being boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm super, super proud of you. Super proud of you. Derek, would you send me an email about your journey? Because I know we've talked about this before. I would love to share this on my platforms about your journey of you and your girlfriend. It's Arica at ericaangelo.com. Ninja Wolf, what are you saying here? And why did YouTube hide your comment? He says, if the girlfriends and wives are cheating with these nobodies who have no history, should us men start from blank by working out, get our haircut, smell good, looking sharp, and going for an upgrade? I think taking care of yourself is vital. Absolutely, you want to take care of yourself. Yeah, if a woman's going to continue to do that, it is time to move on and get an upgrade. Absolutely. Jeffrey says, love you always. Thanks for all the help. You're so welcome, my darling. Hello, Alan. Giovanni, hello, my darling. Hello, Johnny. Hello, Chris. Um, you have Ninja Wolf says you have lovely natural fingers. Erica, natural is always beautiful, right? I personally really love natural beauty. I really do. I mean, beauty comes in all forms, but I tend to gravitate towards a more natural perspective. Gary Kindred says, hi, Erica. Gary from Springfield, Illinois. Erica, do you think that it may be all the humidity out there? Yes, it's definitely the humidity that's making my hair curl out here. Easy says, hi, all. Mark says, I was crushed when my ex cheated on me. I did anything for her and saved her aunt's life. And then he flips the bird and he says, off if I see her. Thank God she's gone. She lives in Texas now. Yeah, it's that kind of pain that you're sharing right there. That level of anger and pain is valid because when someone cheats, that's a cowardly act on their part, but it comes with severe consequences to the other person as well as themselves. So I'm just really sorry that you had to go through that experience because it's heartbreaking. It really can crush a person. Easy says, also, if a lady cheats on you, she's for the streets. Um, Mark says, we are cool. We do not communicate regularly anymore. I think that's a really good boundary, actually. Ninja Wolf says breakups are a very disgusting experience. That's an interesting adjective. I think that they are very difficult, and I think that they hurt as as they should. If we've really placed value on them, they should hurt. It's like if you had a very costly diamond in your pocket that you spent lots of money on, and then it just goes missing. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna piss you off. when we lose something of value, it does come with hurt, and we don't have to run from that. We don't have to be afraid of that. Christian Skull says, send her on her own path. 99.99% of the time, it was about the story she has playing in her head. Absolutely. Absolutely. Something that she is not willing to confront is definitely being played out. Cool Hot says, what happens when you find she can't stop lying to you? Lying is a form of betrayal. And, if that's the case, then that person has to want to get help. They have to want to stop being that person who betrays. And so, unless they're willing to do that, you're just setting yourself up to continually be hurt. So, you have to ask yourself, is this person willing to get help? And if not, why am I allowing them to continue to betray me? And what does that say about me? What does that say about the lack of value that I have for myself to allow someone to treat me this way? Ransom McKissick says, in the mortal words of Paul Simon, slip out the back, Jack, make a new plan, Stan, and get yourself free. Well said. Hello, Kaylin. Thank you for being here. Perry Reese says, Erica, I agree with you what you were saying. I've tried to put boundaries on my fiance. She's cheated on me is the only reason, but I set the boundaries. Um, Perry, I would say, is she, before you say I do with a person like that, I would highly encourage you guys to seek therapy together before you make a long life commitment to this person. You need to make sure that this is someone that you can rely on and that you can depend on. And I definitely would highly encourage you guys to see a therapist together and for her to do some one-on-one so that she can confront why she chose to do this. Steve Grady says, never blame yourself for getting conned by someone who belongs to the streets. Well said. Uh, ZX King, hey Erica, this is out of context, but I'd like to know your opinion. I'm confused whether to follow my passion, which involves high risk, and if I'm not the best and probably no return, or do a stable job. Um, that is a out of context question, but I'm happy to address it as an entrepreneur. I would say, having consistent income will help support you. That being said, you still have to find a way to do your passion on the side. This is very out left field. I never talk about entrepreneurial endeavors, but part of me really wants to talk about those sort of things. As my journey in this business, many years my business was not bringing in income, and I had to keep a full-time job and still run a YouTube channel and still try to support clients when I got off of work or on my days off. So having that consistent income will support you to follow your passion, but that passion has to be actively engaged in. So it's finding a way to do both. No, I'm not in Houston. I'm in Los Angeles now. Jim says, my ex cheating for 15 years of our 16-year marriage. We had kids together. I was a primary parent provider. When I finally filed for divorce, she became abusive more so than usual. It ended in disaster. Jim, oh, my heart goes out to you. I'm terribly sorry that you have gone through that experience. I really just pray for healing for your heart and that you will go on your own journey of reclaiming yourself, because I would imagine that when we go through something as terrorizing as that we begin to lose portions of ourself just to survive, just to maintain or some sense of order. So I would highly encourage you to really go on your journey of healing to heal the damage that has been done to you. Ninja Wolf says relationships and marriages are nothing but a huge mistake to anybody. They can only make their lives miserable, and then they'll be in danger. They're hurting themselves. When someone betrays us, we bleed. Well said. Perry says, good day, Erica. I've been cheated on. I've put my boundaries. Oh, yeah, same comment. She's 48. I'm 64. We've been together 15 years, and I know she is cheated to all our relationships. Oh, it just jumped. Sorry. Which that's why I set boundaries. Yeah, definitely. You two, I would really encourage you to see a therapist. Scott Thompson says, Um, Hi, Erica. I love your advice. What do you think is the best way to let a girl know that you need to move on without hurting her feelings? Regardless, her feelings are going to be hurt, regardless. But she deserves the truth. And when they say the truth will set us free, it's not going to be easy for her to hear, but it will give her the permission to move on. And so you say that by affirming her first. I really value this about you. I really appreciate this about you. Um, I've grown to adore this about you. However, I don't feel that intimately that we are on the same path, and I need to let you go, so that you can find your true happily ever after, because I don't feel that this is the right path for me. It's being very honest, it's affirming her and then gently saying, "This is not working, this is not for me, and I want you to be able to find someone that you do have that with, and I owe that to myself as well." So, her feelings will be hurt, there's no doubt about it, but there's a way that we can gently have that loving conversation with someone. Um, Tamir Talk says, "You keep saying vulnerability leads to intimacy because it does. But if a four out of 10 guys shows vulnerability, it would be received much differently than if a 4 out of 10 guys shows vulnerability, it would be received much differently than an 8 or 9 out of 10 shows vulnerability. Is that right?" That's not necessarily true. I know these are very, how do I say this in a way that you guys will understand? Um, I know on a very surface level that these are ideas that we've all bought into, that are predominantly bought into. But at the end of the day, when someone resonates with us, when we connect from our stories, when we love them, when we are loved by them, whether they're a perceived 9 or perceived 4, that heart connection trumps everything. It trumps everything. I've shared stories of, like, guys who are very good looking who can't seem to find a woman because maybe they've relied on just their looks to get them through life, but they don't know how to establish that emotional connection. And so they're insecure when it comes to women. They struggle. But then you have a guy who maybe isn't the most perceived best looking guy on the planet, but because he knows how to emotionally connect, he makes a woman feel loved. He makes her feel seen like never before. And she loves him wholeheartedly because of the beautiful gift that he gives to her day in, day out. So, vulnerability works whether you're perceived 9, perceived 4, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, it is the pathway for us to connect. Sean says, "Erica, your empathy and clarity are heartwarming. Thank you very much." You're so welcome, my darling. Sean is one of my emotional warriors. Orville Nation says, "Love the glasses, Erica." Thank you. Hi, Erica. What is the perfect fragrance? Andrew wants to know that. Chanel Blue for men is actually a really nice fragrance. I know you guys keep asking me to do a fragrance video. I really should do that. Um, Perry, I would say see a therapist before you move on. I'm a huge advocate in trying to make relationships work before we just say goodbye, because I don't think that that's how we build anything in life. So I would say the two of you seek out a therapist, seek out some coaching before you say goodbye. Um, Orville Nation says, "Had a girlfriend I did not completely trust, could not marry her." Um, Next question before we start wrapping this up. Um, um, Scott says, "Hi, Erica. I love your advice. What do you think is the best way to let a girl down?" Oh, I think I just answered that question. Um, uh, point point blank red pill. If someone can take her, you don't need her, and vice versa. I think that's a very general blanket statement, but at the end of the day, humans are very complex. I think that our hurt is very complex, and so I don't think there's a just one-off answer to that. Thank you, Amin. Hi, Erica. Beautiful glass. Always beautiful. Thank you. I like your glasses. Thank you. Um, Jimmy, that's a funny comment. He says, I love that voice. If your page was all about reading cereal boxes, I'd still be hooked. That's quite funny. Thank you. And I'll finish this off with the last question, which is ZX King. He says, I'm 20. I feel really insecure when I see people in relationships because I've never been in one. I know the grass is always greener on the other side, but I want to feel that love. Any advice? ZX King, I actually would encourage you go to my website, attractandseducer.com. I think a good starting point for you would be my program, How to Get a Date, because you've got to get experience, right? You're not gonna go from 0 to 100. You're not gonna just fall in love. The first practical step is to start dating and start meeting women to see who's the kind of woman that you want to be in love with. And so for you, I would encourage you to get my online program, How to Get a Date. That's a beautiful place to start there. So, guys, I love you so much. And once again, if you've gone through this, my heart deeply goes out to you. And I just send you so much healing and so much love to every place that is hurt. I just send deep, deep love, deep, deep peace, deep assurance to every place in your heart that may feel uncertain, hurt, afraid. Just deep love to you. Guys, as always, remember you have what it takes inside of you. I'm your guide to help pull that out, to pull out what you already carry on the inside. And for you guys to know this, that you are loved. That is how we were created. We were created out of love. We carry the essence of God on the inside of us, the essence of love, that we are love. And that as we choose to see one another, we choose to love one another. So thank you guys for spending this weekly time with me. And yeah, just very grateful for you guys. If you're just catching the end of it, I encourage you to watch it from the beginning. And as always, I'd love to read your comments in the comment section below. Sending you so much love from Los Angeles, guys. I will see you next week. Much love to everyone. Bye.